My name is Steve. Welcome to my shop. And Shark Bits, episode number 32. In this episode of Shark Bits, my machining project is going to be to make some T-nuts for the new Sheldon milling machine that I just purchased. The Sheldon isn't here yet. I've still got to do some rearranging and reorganizing of the shop to make room for it. But it is in an area that I can use it. It's hooked up and it's only about 5 minutes away from my house in a workshop that I use at a museum. So I do have it available to me. Just got an order in this afternoon from McMaster Car. Nothing real exciting, but there are some parts in it to solve a problem that I've run into on my Atlas lathe, and I'll take you over and explain it to you. I just picked up an assortment of metric socket head cap screws. I have some Imperial, but every time I go to pick up a metric one, I have to make a trip out to local hardware store to pick something up. So I picked up this assortment of metric socket head cap screws. It's got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 millimeter screws in it, and I'm already going to be using 3 of the 8 millimeter screws in the Char's chuck that I just made the new soft jaws for. What I did, let me bring it over and show you. When I made the jaws, I countersunk the mounting bolts, but I decided that I needed to countersink them a little bit deeper so that I have room to machine the face, and I'm going to be putting a larger piece of material on this to turn, and so I want to be able to turn at least about a 3/16 recess in these. So after I finish drilling the boring the countersinks deeper, I ran out of space for the longer bolts, so I just got some bolts. I gotta find my Allen wrench. There it is. So I've already used 3 of the bolts out of my assortment. There you go. It's all ready to mount on the lathe and true it up. Run into a little bit of aggravation on my quick change tool post, and what is happening is every once in a while, if I over tighten this nut a little bit, when I go to loosen it up, it unscrews the retaining nut under it with it, and it jams like a jam nut type thing. I have a terrible time getting it apart. I have to muscle it apart, and it's a real pain, and it happens more often than it should. So what I did is I picked up a thrust bearing. There's a washer. There's the bearing. Put a little bit of machine oil on it. The second washer. Let's see how this works. So now, with that thrust bearing in there, I get a little bit more even torque on tightening it, and I shouldn't have any problem loosening it at all. I think that's going to solve the problem. Let's hope so anyway. Over this past month, I have had a large number of new subscribers to my channel, and I'd like to thank each and every one of them that has pushed that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. I also want to thank the old subscribers that have been sticking by me. Here's a set of T-nuts that I made up. They have 5/16 18 grade 8 threaded rod in them and grade 8 flanged nuts. So I'm going to take you over to the milling machine and show you how I made them. In the next shark bits, I'm going to blacken them, chemical blacken them, but I ran out of time to do it on this one, so I'm going to clean them up good. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is take them over to the milling machine, make sure they fit, and then I'll clean them up good and do a chemical blackening, and I'll include that in one of my next Shark Bits episodes. So let's go over to the milling machine and I'll show you how I did it. The width of the T-nuts is 3/4 of an inch, and the height is going to be 5/8. I've got some 3/4 by 1 inch stock. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it down to 5/8. Zeroed out my Z-axis. I'm going to try my first cut at let's see, 25 thousandths. See how that works. I'm going to try 50 now. That seemed to go okay. I've still got 300 thousandths to go, so I'll bring you back when I'm done. Okay, I'm down to 10 thousandths left. I'm at 635. I need to go to 625. I sped my cutter up. I'm getting a much better finish, and so this last cut will be only 10 thousandths. Okay. I'm going to take it out and deburr it and mark it up to start cutting the T. Okay, the T is going to be 312 thousandths. So I've set my height gauge. I'm going to scribe 312 on it. I'm going to do both sides. Okay, that's the depth of cut. Now I've got to mark it for the width. The width on the top is going to be 400 thousandths, which should leave me 175 on each side. Let's just take and double check it. See what I've got left. It's 400. Okay, let's go set it up in the mill and cut a T. This is my final cut. I'm going to climb mill it to get a better surface finish. And I'm taking 5 thousandths off the vertical face, and I'm taking 12 thousandths off of the bottom face. Okay, we've got it. For the other side, I'm going to leave the depth the same. Since I got that right, I'm going to lock the depth, and I'm going to work my way in. I'm going to go full depth and then work my way into the center. I'll bring you back when I'm finished. This is the final cut on the other side. It's 10 thousandths, and I'm climb milling to get the better finish. Alright, well, 400 thousandths. It works for me. Now what I'm going to do is square off the two ends, take it out, and cut off two pieces in the bandsaw. Well, there's the rough stock. I'll cut it to length. I've got two finished ends, so I'll cut two ends off. Ideally, I'd like to have these 1 inch long, but the stock was only 6 inches, so it's going to be a little bit shorter because of the blade width. So I'll probably end up about 7/8, which is just fine. I've got my set up to cut the length. That one's done. That was the shortest one. And now I'll go through all of them, cut them all the same. .901. Close enough. And we're all within 1 to 2 thousandths of 900. Well, there they are. Now I'm going to lay them out to drill them and tap them for 3/8/16. I'm going to mark one of the T-nuts so that I have something to just do a sanity check on, if you will, once I get over to the milling machine, because I'm going to set this up with the DRO and a stop so that they'll all be the same. I just want to make sure I start it right. So I'm going to use a 1, 2, 3 block to make sure that's square. It's 3/4 of an inch tall, so I'm marking halfway, which is 375, and I'm going to turn it over and mark it again. If there's any discrepancy between the two marks, you split the difference when you mark it. Now it is 900 thousandths tall, so I'm going to adjust to 450. There's 450. I'll turn that over. That's good. Whether you can see that or not, but I've got my cross there. Now I'm going to use the a prick punch to mark it. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to go over and set it up in the mill, and I'll use that mark just to double check myself. Okay, I'm all set up with my Starrett edge finder. I'm going to zero out my y-axis. We'll try that again. See where to verify it. Okay, I'm right there. So my pilot is 200 thousandths. So if I come over 100 thousandths, I'm at the edge. I'm centered over the edge. And then this is 400 thousandths wide. So I'll come over another 200. Makes it a total of 300 thousandths. Okay, that should be centered. Now I'm going to come down on the x-axis. Zero that out. Come back and try it again. Okay, it kicked off and I'm at zero. So I come over 100. Puts me over the edge. This is 900 thousandths long, So I go to a total of 550, should be centered. Okay, and I'll lock that off. That should be right over the center. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to put my wiggler in there and double check it against my spot. Yep, right on the money. And I'm going to spot drill it. Originally, I thought I was going to do this for 3/8 studs. 3/8 is really pushing it, and the material that I have to make the studs out that I thought was 3/8 turned out to be 5/16 18. I've got a length of grade 8 threaded rod that I'm going to make studs out of, so I'm drilling it for 5/16 18 thread, which is a number F drill. I'm going to slow the drill down a little bit and bring you back after I reset the speed. Okay, we're all set to drill. Got my 5/16 tap in here, and I'm just going to start it. Okay. Get it started straight. Since I don't have a reverse set up yet on this mill, I'm just going to tap it by hand. I'm just going to hit it with a chamfer tool. Perfect. There it is. All I got to do is finish deburring them, and they'll be ready to use. Something I'm gonna, since I've already got this set up and it's centered, I'm gonna hit the back side with a chamfer tool also to help deburr it. Beautiful. Hey, 5 more to go. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Shark Bits. I appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to watch my videos. Please give me an old thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. In this episode of Shark Bits, my machining project is going to be to make some T-nuts for the new Sheldon